Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new teen book spotlight. So for this week, we are taking some inspiration from the season that we're in right now. It's gotten pretty chilly out. Like last weekend it was like 60 degrees and we have snow on the ground. It's been crazy. So we are kind of taking some inspiration from that because when I think of winter, I think of cold weather, I think of the color blue. So our theme for this week, we are taking a look at books that have blue covers. And I love doing a theme like this because it mixes it up. We have a mix that we would never put together otherwise just because of the color. And yeah, we're judging the book on its cover in a sense, and we all do it, let's be realistic. So we have 6 books here, all completely different. All random things that have blue covers. So let's get started. Our first one is Deep Blue. So if you love a good mermaid fantasy, then this is the one for you. Now this is the first book in a 4-book series, and we follow 16-year-old Serafina. And she is a mermaid, and she is the heir apparent to the realm called Maramara, which is underwater, obviously, as she's a mermaid. And on the day of her betrothal ceremony, which is going to be what places her in line for the throne, everything goes well up until when her mother, who's the current queen, gets killed by a sniper. And then Serafina finds herself on the run with a fellow princess named Neela, and now their lives are in danger. Someone's gonna be after Serafina because if they're willing to kill her mom, they're gonna kill Serafina because she's next in line. And as they are trying to figure out what they can do to avoid an all-out war with this enemy that they don't even really know who it is, Serafina and Neela soon find themselves joining forces with other mermaids in order to defeat this dark, evil force which wants to take down everything they've known. So if you love your fantasy reads that take place underwater and there's some mystery, adventure, and good versus evil, then this is the one for you. Again, it's the first in a series. The series is completed, so you can always check out this one and get the others. This is Deep Blue. Muted. Okay, so Denver, Dolly, and Shaq, they make up this girl group known as Angelic Voices, and they are just waiting to be discovered for their big break. They know what's happening, but up until this point, they're just singing as friends. They think their big break has happened though, when they are overheard singing outside a concert by the singer himself. That would be Sean Mercury Ellis. And soon they find themselves in his inner circle, like he wants to produce their album. And he wants to help with their destinies, and it's kind of starting to be a little too good to be true. And things kind of start to change between Mercury and the girls, and he has this controlling nature that starts to appear. Now, the girls quickly become divided. Denver and Dolly, they decide they're going to do whatever it takes to get this big break, whereas Shaq does not feel right about the situation. When Denver and Dolly decide they're going to do, again, whatever it takes, they end up moving into Mercury's house in Atlanta, and that is where he shows his true colors and his motives. And they will find themselves on a journey that neither of them thought or would have imagined, but it's going to change their lives completely. This novel in verse, it's told through Denver's point of view, is one that provides insights into the dark corners of the music industry, but please be aware there are some descriptions and themes of physical abuse, sexual assault, rape, eating disorders, and there is some pretty mature content in here that can be explicit at times. But if you love something that's in the deep, dark corners of an industry, you will enjoy Muted. Hey Kiddo, this is one of my favorite graphic novels. If you read Lunch Lady, you've read Fat Farm, that's by Jared Kroska. And this is his memoir in graphic novel form, obviously, because he's a graphic novelist. So Kroska shares his story about how he grew up in this amazing graphic memoir. And in kindergarten, he was asked to draw a picture of his family. But his family was not your traditional family. His mother was a heroin addict, even though Jared did not know it at the time. He thought his mother was just away from home. And no one really knew where his father was, so he was living with his grandparents. And although he knew they loved him and he loved them, it was hard growing up with them. They were not planning on raising a child again, and Jared did not understand why he had parents who were so much older than everyone else's. And as he starts to grow up, though, he appreciates their support and what they've sacrificed for him. And this amazing story will open your eyes to that all families can be different, and family is what you make of it, and everyone needs support in order to survive. An amazing story, highly recommend it. This is Hey Kiddo. Vincent and Theo. So if you've watched enough of these, you know I love nonfiction. This one is no exception. You think you know everything you need to know about Vincent van Gogh? Read this one. So this is a YALSA Nonfiction Award winner. That's how good it is. It won like the National Award for the Best Nonfiction for Young Adults the year it was published. We have all heard about Vincent van Gogh, but how many of us have heard about his brother Theo? Now, Theo played such an integral role in Vincent's development as an artist, and this book is based on over 700 letters that were exchanged between them in their lifetime. Now, this starts from their childhood through their successes and turmoils. They each support each other while competing and occasionally having their own volatile relationships with each other and with other people. This amazing nonfiction book is filled with sketches, drawings, paintings, and you will discover more about these brothers than you could ever have imagined, and you will figure out how these brothers made each other who they are, including the Vincent van Gogh that we have all heard of and seen his paintings. This is Vincent and Theo. The Kingdom of Back. So Nan is the older sister of Wolfgang Mozart. A musical prodigy in her own right, though, she wishes that she could be remembered forever. Growing up in the 1700s in Europe, though, that means that she will only be able to perform in public until she's at an age where she can marry. And that's fast approaching. And even on top of that, she will never be able to get credit for the compositions that she writes. And believe it or not, she actually is a better composer than her brother Wolfgang. As she grows older and her brother's talents and abilities increases, leaving Nan behind, one night a mysterious visitor comes to her, and he promises to make her dreams come true. But it may end up costing her everything. This historical fantasy is one that will make you examine how far you will go for family and what you love. I will give you a heads up. The plot can be a little intricate, maybe a little confusing at times, but if you love music, if you love classical music especially, tied in with some fantasy and maybe some fae, this is the Kingdom of Back. And our last one for this week is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. So, in this retelling of Beauty and the Beast, we meet Harper, who has not had the easiest life. Not only is her mother fighting cancer, her father has disappeared, and her brother is caught up in these loan sharks that her father left behind, like wanting their money. She also has cerebral palsy, which can make life difficult for her physically. One evening, when she's helping her brother on the streets of Washington, D.C., she sees this man carrying an unconscious woman, and she decides she's going to intervene. This man is kidnapping this woman, and she needs to do something about it. When she does, though, all of a sudden she finds herself transported to the cursed kingdom of the Emberfall, and soon she finds herself wrapped up in the plan to break the curse holding this kingdom hostage. But it may have it, like, in order to do it, she may have to fall in love with the prince. And he has his own set of issues. He turns into a monster. I mean, like, yeah. And she isn't completely sold that this is the solution to all the problems in this kingdom to begin with. The first in a completed trilogy, you will not be able to put this one down, and you can check out the whole series. It's done. The trilogy is completed. So you don't have to wait through like a whole year, because I will tell you, this does have a cliffhanger ending, like usually fantasy trilogies do. So make sure you check out the second one, either when you get this one or when you get really close to finishing this one, so you don't have to wait and try to remember what happened at the end of A Curse So Dark and Lonely. So these are just 6 of the books that we have here at the library that have blue covers. And again, they're such a random, but they're such a good collection of books this week. So I encourage you to come out, check out one of these, or maybe find another book in our collection that has a blue cover, or read whatever you feel like reading this week. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new teen book spotlight.